What do you want me to do?
Dad,
Tell me. I'll
you
do
can't
it.
just come here and play house like you're not the reason all of this happened. You did this to us because you're selfish.
I think David, well, I think the season, to be honest with you, there's not a lot of grace that he gives himself, I think, off the first half of the season. There's so much self-doubt and judgment happening to this man, regardless of his accountability of showing up, because his kids are everything. He wants to be a good dad. He's really lost. In the series, you don't really see him going to church. It's stated that he goes to the other mass.
Right.
But I don't think there's no way that man would have been able to, hit rock bottom the way he did if it wasn't for the faith that he has on being accountable to his family and to his faith.
One of the keys in our imperfections is continuing to seek relationship with God first of all, but also a relationship with our kids and other people who are in relationship with them, because we're gonna fail. We're men, and I feel like I experienced that at the highest point in the darkest moments of my life, similar to what your character's walking through. He's like walking through the darkest season of his life, trying to figure out how to be a man, how to be a responsible dad, all that.
And then there's that tension of being human while having to be a father who's flawed.
Yeah.
And then we put this responsibility on ourselves, like I'm sure we all have. I know I have so many times where I wanted to make the right decision to impact my children. I have 2 teenagers, and they're full of life and they're full of hope, and I want to release them into the world. And yet I'll put this weight on myself that when I fail them, it's gonna mess them up forever, which I think is just a mistake in general of us being men trying to be independent. Yeah. Even this idea of like operating in a family unit, you're a unit. Now you may lead it, that's the position you take in the role in your home. However, you're supposed to do this together, and I think the children often teach us that.
Te prometo que no va a pasar más nunca, okay?
I know, Dad, but it could happen. So we don't have to wait a year. Okay, I'm just glad you're getting help now.
You, or so many times throughout the show, we see that the children take on these moments where they're getting it back to their parents, and it seems like the children's wiser.
Yeah, we're growing from them.
Yeah, we're growing from them. And I think that's the beauty of realizing that. I don't think you judge a man or a woman based off their success or their failures. I think you look at them and you judge them by their ability to respond to what they went through. And that's what I think a good parent does. They're not perfect, but they keep showing up.
Yeah.
I just want us to be... I want us to be good, Merritt, as a family.
One thing's to get better. Talk to your buddy Malcolm. Malcolm and Mom are hooking up.
He finds out the whole Malcolm thing. Obviously, hits kind of his relationship with his son is completely severed. In that moment, he doesn't have a lot to live for. There's this kind of like, deep thing of, he's been sober for 2 years, and, he does it because it's like, what else do I have in that moment?
Come on, man, end of the tour. We gotta celebrate.
And then he instantly wakes up and realizes that, like, no, what I have is, I have to be compassionate, and I have to have accountability for, like, my kids. Like, I cannot, the scene how his son is literally, he can mirror his faults through his son, through the lens of his son. That's gotta be like, that is so hard. You know what I mean? Because this kid, like, the reason he's acting out and the reason he's doing all this is because of my action. That's heartbreaking. I think around that point, after he comes back and he gets back into, because it is, thank goodness, a momentary lapse. I love that they did that, and he is very much committed to being sober. I think around that point is where, like, there's the grace comes in for my character.
I wanted to talk to you guys about what happened the other night. My slip. Because that's what it was. Okay, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm committed to my sobriety, okay? I mean that. I hope you guys can forgive me.
That word failure seems so definite.
Right.
But I made a mistake, I messed up. But why? This had great impact on me. And because it had great impact on me, it led me to a place to resolve to maybe some behaviors that I thought I left behind. And I think understanding that and gaining that perspective, one of the greatest gifts we could ever have is perspective.
Yeah.
Because it allows me not only to be empathetic towards you, but it gives me grace for me.
Yeah, he obviously has a huge heart and means well and knows his kids, and It gives, I guess, it gives gives them somewhere to go. You know.
That's, I think, the beautiful thing about failure is it can destroy us or it can drive us back. Like you go through that moment. That's got to be the most heartbreaking moment for anybody that's an alcoholic, is literally that moment where they leave sobriety and they realize it. But that can destroy you, or it can actually turn you the other direction. So I think the beautiful thing about failure is it gives you an opportunity to realize your humanity again. Right.
The grace comes from humility, from falling and picking yourself up, and the humility of being like, I'm not going to sit here and like me. No, you got to pick yourself up and be humble, and you got to be there for your kids.
Yeah, you got to show up.
You got to show up.
Case, come on, let's go.